Hey everybody, it's Allie, and I am going to talk about dust today. So I'm going to remove the layers where I was practicing. Here we go. I created a brush. I created several of them, dust brushes. They're just these soft little brushes that will scatter dust across an image and give it some ambiance, some atmosphere. And the first thing I did is I want you to think about dust, and it surrounds people. And so I feel that dust should, what I did was as you can see here on the right, my layers panel, I duplicated my background and I cut out my subject. I'm going to be honest, I did not do like a really good job cutting her out. I did a very quick selection because for what we're doing, I don't need to do a super good job cutting people out. And I like to say that because sometimes, you can make yourself go crazy over something that no one's going to see. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting a layer below my cutout and a layer in front. And what that does is, like, I've got my dust brush, and this is going to be way too much, but I'm going to put it at 100%. And as you can see, it puts a whole bunch of dust behind her. And then I can put dust in front of her, and it's all surrounding her. That looks like crap. So I'm going to go back and add my layers again. So and I'm just adding layers with the layers panel, just new layer. You could also go to layer, new layer up top. I'm going to put my dust brush back to about 20% by hitting the 2. I'm going to start at my bottom layer behind her. And what I did was I went and option clicked one of these like lighter colors behind her. And I think that one's actually a little too bright. I want something lighter. Okay. And I'm just going to kind of click around behind her. And that'll stir up a little dust in the hallway behind her. Okay. And I'm going to put a little bit around the light because you know how you always see dust better kind of around light sources. And so if you kind of watch how dust works, it helps. Now I'm going to go to my front layer and I'm going to hit X because I've got this darker red, and I'm going to start with that. And I've sampled this from the door, and I'm going to put some of this layer and low in front of her. I always feel like you want to make sure their faces look good, so I don't tend to put it in front of someone's face. And you'll see my brush is just like changing sizes and changing directions, and that's because of the settings that I put in the brush. And to give the dust a little bit more depth, I'm going to hit X and go to my light color that I used in the back and just throw in a few light shades of dust. And that is entirely too much, but we can pull the opacity back a little tiny bit. And on the layer that's a little darker, I'm going to give it a little bit of a blend. So blur, Gaussian blur, and just that's a little tiny bit of a blend. A blur, I mean. And that just kind of softens it. And I'll bring that opacity down a little bit. Now I could leave the opacity all the way up and I could play with my blend modes. And so sometimes, actually that looks pretty good on overlay. So I'm going to put it at overlay, and I think it actually, no, I don't like it at overlay. That pretty much made it disappear. Going, dissolve always looks weird. Let me see. So let's look at screen mode, and we're going to go back to normal, and I'm just going to pull the opacity down. I like to kind of keep my editing examples real because you're going to run into these decisions. So I'm also going to blur my back dust because, I mean, nobody's going to see dust that well. So I'm going to add a Gaussian blur and then kind of give it a quick look. And there we go. That looks better. So now this is softer behind her. And there she's got a good dust look. And we could keep going. We could add more colors. We could try different brushes. But I think what this image could really do well with now is some overall texture. So I'm going to go to File, Place Embedded, and I happen to have some grunge textures that I've purchased over the years, and I'm going to grab Billow. And this one has kind of a little bit of a it's got a nice little cracks and some brush strokey, so I kind of like it. It's also a nice neutral. I'm going to hold shift and just stretch it up because I don't want to keep making it too big. Okay. And now you've got this texture and it's totally destroyed my image. So what I'm going to do is go through my blend modes, and I already know that soft light's going to be my best blend mode. Overlay is too strong. Look what happens to the screen. It's like not even there. If I go to darken, that's not bad, but I think soft light's better. It's entirely too much right now, but before I do anything to bring the opacity down, I don't think I like it warm. So I'm going to go to adjustments and hue and saturation because I have a smart object, and I'm going to push it a little bit cooler. So I really think that the cool works well with kind of these kind of scary, grungy looks. And if you look at the layer, you can see it's changing. You can see the color, it's changing, and I like it better like that. And I don't even feel like I have to pull it back as much. And if you don't like the smart filter, and you know, with smart filters, I can just turn it off and go back to where I was. I think it's too much, and I am going to still pull this texture back. And you can see how it affected the walls, and I think it makes the dust and the grunge, everything kind of comes together better. So that's my little tutorial on working with dust brushes. I hope it's been helpful, and if you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you.